We have 14 NCAA Division II athletic teams, so you can kind of get a look at the different offerings here. On the men's side, we have football, basketball, baseball, track and field, cross country, golf, wrestling, and hockey. Our hockey teams on the men's and women's side compete in the ACHA, so it's not a NCAA sport. However, our men's team is the reigning national champions, and our women's team is two-time national runners up. So hopefully this is the year we can go out and win the title. And we'll talk a little bit about their facilities and whatnot here in a little bit. On the women's side, we have women's basketball, volleyball, softball, track and field, cross country, golf, soccer, and then once again, hockey. You can take a look there at a couple photos of our Minot State sports right there. Now, as student athletes, our campus facilities, I like to think, are second to none when it comes to the NCAA Division II. Our dome, as you can see there in the background, was built in 1981. Recently, it's been redone to seat a full 10,000 fans. On a good day, we can get a couple more there. I think the max capacity is like 10,500 roughly. We do have the NCAA Division II's largest indoor video board as well. The dome, as I mentioned, has been completely redone. They've blown out portions of the second floor wall so that individuals can access their seats from any floor of the dome. And it's really something to be said when every team that comes to compete in the dome stops to take pictures of the facility. And so that's going to be something that's really exciting for us. We also have athletic weight rooms here on campus. And so that's going to be where athletes go in and get their extra work in, that work to get their bodies ready for competition. Caleb Heilman does all our strength and conditioning here at Minot State, and his approach and his understanding of metrics and everything like that is going to be, I'd like to say, second to none. He's done work with the Toronto Blue Jays baseball team in the spring training, and so he's worked with some of the highest and brightest professionals when it comes to professional baseball, but his expertise does not just extend out to baseball. He really covers every team in a really unique way. So some strength and conditioning programs are just cookie cutter in that you're going to be picking up heavy things a lot, and the way the football team lifts and the way that, say, the women's hockey team lifts is going to be similar with a couple tweaks here, completely different. It's really catered to the individual athlete, which is super awesome. Caleb and his staff do all the strength and conditioning when it comes to the university level, the high school level, and the independent gym level here in Minot. So he really knows what he's talking about and really knows what he's doing. We have Canadian athletes from Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, Newfoundland, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Yukon. So Canadian athletes coming from all over the place. For example, as a baseball coach, as a baseball player, roughly half of our rosters come from Canada. We've seen the numbers shrink just a little bit, but we still have a good handful of Canadian students here. Being Minot, North Dakota, we are right there to the Canadian border. I was actually lucky enough to spend a couple summers myself playing baseball in Medicine Hat, Alberta. Had a great time traveling all through Alberta and Saskatchewan during my summers. Some more of our facilities would include our indoor air-supported bubble, which is going to be great for our student athletes in the winter, especially those spring sports that play outside, or even our football. You'll be able to go inside in a climate-controlled environment and practice and perfect those skills. Now, for us in baseball, that's a big deal because we get to hit live pitching, field a live defense inside of this bubble. Our soccer teams and football teams get to scrimmage inside without having to deal with the elements. And so it does come down for the regular fall season and spring seasons. But once the snow starts falling, they put it back up for us to train all year long. And I really think this is what took our athletics to the next level when it comes to our NCAA Division II performance. You can look across the board and see just how much it's improved our records, individual stats, and all that. So it's really a big deal when it comes to how we prepare for games. On the left there, you can see a picture of our newly renovated soccer team room. And so when it comes to our locker room facilities, we're currently getting a bunch of those redone, which is really exciting. A lot of our locker room facilities are second to none, I feel, and they're really super awesome. We also have great athletic training staff here, thanks to Trinity Sports Medicine out of our Trinity hospital here, and they do a great job making sure we have everything we need to stay healthy, to be ready to compete, and all that. So their team is really awesome. They get to take care of you one-on-one. We have a trainer for each individual sport, so they get to know exactly what you need, when you need it. You have a routine, and they're perfect for all things that we need through athletics. Then you can see a picture once again of the dome. A picture you won't see right here is the Mesa Arena, home of our men's and women's hockey teams. This is basically a brand new facility. I believe this is the third year they're using the arena. It seats roughly 2,500 fans, and it's really just a great rowdy place. So when you talk about probably some of the nicest arenas in the NCAA Division I, you can put us right up there. They have a brand new scoreboard that has video boards on all sides. It's also home to the Minot Minotauros junior hockey team, and so there's always action going on there. It's a great time to be there on a Friday, Saturday night when it's sold out. And they're cheering on the national champs or the women's team. So it's really a great time there. And then, like I said, our facilities will blow anyone out the water. I believe that they really sell themselves, and they give us athletes the opportunity to get better. As we drop down to our athletic support services, here on campus, we have the Dean Franz Fogg Academic Success Center. This is a place where athletes can go and log their study hours. They can go get the peer tutoring they need. It's a state-of-the-art facility that has computers, printers, everything you need to be successful as a student athlete, and it is a supervised study area. So all the teams on campus have some kind of study hours they need to complete. Now, how it looks for each individual team is a little different depending on the coach. Now, for baseball, as an example, we do have 3 mandatory study hall hours for every student per semester. Now, if certain students are not, keeping their grades right, they might have a few additional study hours, or they might have to give their tutor so they can start bringing those grades up. A lot of teams have a 3.0 minimum expectation, and so this is not something that's a goal for us, it's a requirement. And so here at Minot State, under head coach Scott Ewell, just baseball example alone, there was one semester before him that we did not, or that we had above a 3.0. Ever since him, every semester we've had a 3.0 GPA at least. And so that's just a tribute to all the extra academic support that we have here on campus, and the push to really be athletes, or student athletes, with that student portion being first. And so this is a great place to go in and get your study hours in. You could also get your study hours in the library as well. There's a scanning system where you scan your ID. When you come into study hall, you scan it when you leave, and that tracks your study hours that way. The reports get printed and sent to the coaches so they can see which athletes have been finishing their study hall hours and which ones have not, just because there is that option for us to study together. It's a really great place. Don't think that you can take advantage of it, though. There are cameras there, so if you decide to swipe in and leave, the coaches are going to know that as well. So it's really a place where you can hold yourself accountable, hold your teammates accountable, and then work on projects and assignments with other athletes. So it's not designated for just one sport. You'll have athletes from all different teams studying in the same place, tutoring each other, getting the extra support they need to make sure that we're successful in the classroom primarily, and most importantly, and that carries over into our athletics. The day in the life of a student athlete, of course, it can change a little bit depending on what sport we play, but roughly speaking, you can expect to wake up in the morning, you go to your weights. So we'll say an example from when I played not so long ago, we'd wake up, go to 6 a.m. weights. Not every team is going to lift at 6 in the morning. It's more spread out throughout the day now. But just out of personal experience, say you have that early weight group, you're going to wake up, go to weights. Once you get to weights, you're going to stretch, do your running, do your cardio, take care of your strength program. After that, you're probably going to cool down, get yourself a little something to eat, whether that's breakfast or a protein shake or something like that. Then you'll get yourself ready for class. Now, some students have time to go back to their rooms, their apartments, wherever they may be, and get ready. Some of us have to shower in the locker room and make our way to class. Then you'll put in your time at class, depending on what your schedule looks like. Everybody's a little different. Typically then after class, you'll go to practice. Once you go to practice, you're going to be there for however long practice is, obviously, and put in that time getting better with your team. After practice, you'll be looking for dinner. And then after dinner, you'd go in to do your study hall hours or work on projects and things like that that you might want to do. Of course, the most important thing when you're looking to play college sports is to remember that academics come first, sports are going to be second, but you do need to have a social aspect in that as well. So to help that, NCAA legislation includes restrictions on how many hours per week you can participate in sport activities. So this includes lifting times, any extra conditioning, anything that involves the team can count against those hours. And so there's ways to regulate that as well. So don't think you're not going to have any free time, but also remember that you're going to be spending some time with that team. It's important to establish the routine early so that you can refine it and lock it down as you continue to go, and then recognize that playing time is not guaranteed. So I like to think of academically, athletically, you get what you put in. So if you work really hard, you're going to do really well in the classroom. If you work really hard on the field, you're going to get the playing time on the field, and you're going to be successful 9 times out of 10. But if we don't put in time in either one of those, then we're probably not going to be the most successful. Likewise, in our social life with our friends, we do have to make time for that as well, because you do want to have the college experience as well when it comes to student athletes in college. Now, how to be recruited. There's a lot of different ways to be recruited, of course. One of the ones that I encourage students here at Minot State, or that are interested to coming to Minot State, to look into is going to be going to msubeavers.com/recruitme. There's going to be a form where you can fill out with all your information, the sport you play, the position. It's going to give you the option to include stats as well. One of the things I do recommend is if you have tapes, either highlight or game footage, send those as well. Of course, game footage is going to be really important, especially depending on the sport we play. It's always nice to see your highlights, but it's tough to figure out what that sample size is like. I would also include a coach's contact as well, so that us as coaches are able to reach out to your coaches and learn a little bit about yourself. It's important to also include any transcripts that you may have for grades. Of course, we want great athletes, but we also want solid students. And it's a really easy way to kind of tie the two together and reflect, all right, if we're a solid student, we can handle coursework and getting our job done in all those ways. So it's really important to include those. You can definitely email the coach. Make sure they're professional emails. Don't say, hey, yo, coach, or anything like that. They do receive a lot of emails, a lot of text messages, all that. So make sure it's well polished and put together. If we do send highlight tapes, let's try to stay away from music with profane language or inappropriate music. A lot of times coaches might hear that and just move on to the next video. So definitely keep that in mind. Extra advice for me is that don't just assume because you're talking to a coach that you're going to get an athletic scholarship. Here at Minot State, we're lucky to be recognized as the 3rd most affordable public university in the United States. And if you do get offered scholarship money, remember to take into account the percentage that money plays in the tuition and fees, and not just that overall number. Of course, it's like that regardless of where you go. Everyone's tuition is going to be different. So you really want to look at, say, that percentage value if you're looking at dollar amount. Also, don't forget about your academics. Don't think that college coaches are going to be spending a bunch of time on you if you don't have the grades to go with it. A lot of coaches do not want to spend a lot of time calling your professors for you, making sure you're going to class and doing all those things. So if we're on the fence in some classes, I encourage you to definitely get on top of your grades to make sure that you are eligible to play, because that's also going to be a big factor when determining if you're good enough to be on the team. If you can't stay eligible and you can't play, then you don't help the team at all. So definitely keep those in mind. If you have questions about anything in the recruiting process, you can give us a call, or you can call that designated coach. They'll be here to help you every step of the way.